This is the new 2026 Honda CR-V Trailsport, which is available exclusively as a hybrid. Can it deliver solid performance both on the street as well as on the trail? Well, we're going to check out all the features, take it for a drive, and then put it to the test right now on Driving Sports TV. This episode is brought to you by LASFIT all-weather mats. Get better protection and save 20% off your order using the code DSTV at lasfit.com. Now let's go get these muddy. It really feels like these days every car maker is jumping onto that off-road ready compact crossover bandwagon. Subaru has the Forester Wilderness, Hyundai has their Tucson XRT, Ford has the Bronco Sport Badlands, and then of course even Honda has already introduced highly capable trail versions of both its larger Passport and Pilot. So it was really only a matter of time before Honda's Trailsport trickled down to its compact crossover, the CR-V. This is of course the 2026 Honda CR-V Trailsport. And unlike all the other vehicles in this segment, this one is exclusively a hybrid. The CR-V did receive a refresh across all trim levels for the 2026 model year. Part of that refresh included improving the real-time all-wheel drive system's low-speed traction management. That low-speed traction improvement is key to this Trailsport, but note you don't have to buy a Trailsport trim to get it. It is on all 2026 CR-Vs with all-wheel drive. So let's talk about what is unique to this Trailsport trim. First, you get special 18-inch alloy wheels wrapped in Continental cross-contact trail tires. Next, you get Trailsport badges everywhere. And then finally, you get a unique front fascia that looks like it has a metal skid plate, but it's just plastic. That's it. All the other notable stats are the same as they are on any other CR-V. Ground clearance is 8.2 inches, approach angle is 16.1 degrees. Towing maxes out at 1,000 pounds. It even has the standard 9-inch infotainment system. Whereas most car makers cheap out and give you a prop rod, Honda has splurged here and given us pistons, which I love to see. Now, for your regular maintenance stuff, it's pretty accessible. We got a dipstick there, we have a oil filler cap there, and then we have washer fluid right there. Of course, there's some other stuff you can access up here, plus they did mount the 12-volt battery under the hood here as well. So yeah, pretty straightforward setup. The powertrain here does include a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine combined with a pair of electric motors. One acts like a generator, the other provides power to the all-wheel drive system. The transmission, it doesn't really have one in a traditional sense. Total system output does peak at 204 horsepower. EPA rates the economy at 38 miles to the gallon in town and 33 on the highway. That is a slight dip from the 40 mpg that you get in town with the regular CR-V. I attribute that to the all-terrain tires. Price as you see it here with the optional ash green paint, you're looking at $40,615 US, including destination. Final assembly is at Honda's plant in Indiana. While it's true that some off-road ready compact crossovers do come with a full set of off-road mud mats, this one doesn't come with a full set. It only has front and middle. It has nothing in the rear. And even the front and middle ones could be improved. And that brings me to the sponsor of this video, LASFIT all-weather mats. Here in the Pacific Northwest, mud is a way of life for 3/4 of the year. So having high-quality protection for our vehicles is critical. Whether you're getting a new 2025 or 2026 CR-V, any other vehicle from Honda, Toyota, Ford, Jeep, Nissan, or many other makes, LASFIT has a complete mat set with full protection front to trunk, available right now. Simply go to lasfit.com, search your vehicle, and find the perfect fit. So here's something I want to show you. This is the driver's side mud mat. It's okay, it's not bad. It has a little protection on the bottom, but what about the dead pedal? Nothing. As you can see, the LASFIT mat, much more comprehensive. We have not only much higher guttering on the side, but we also have complete protection over the dead pedal. And I like the protection over the dead pedal because that's where stuff gets in under the mat. This kind of keeps things just better. And of course, LASFIT includes mats for all 3 rows, so you are completely covered. protecting your vehicle investment in all weather conditions. For more information, click the link in the description or go to LASFIT.com and start your search for a better set of all-weather maps. Get better protection and save 20% off your order using the code DSTV at LASFIT.com. In the back, you do get a power gate, which is nice. Fold the second row down and we get 76.5 cubic feet of total storage capacity. Under the floor, there's nothing. You can't even lift it up anymore. In the old one, you could at least pull it up. This one, they've attached it permanently. On the side, we do get a 12-volt DC power socket and a small light. Actually, we get a light on both sides, which is nice. Inside here, we do get a fix-a-flat kit. So can you sleep in it? It's not ideal because we have the hump right here where the seat backs fold down. This is lower by a couple inches, so you would have to level this out. If you did, I am 6'1", legs torso proportionate, and I kind of fit almost. So doable, but not ideal. For the second row, I do have to point out a feature that is very unique to this vehicle, and that is the fact that these doors go 90 degrees. So you just have this massive opening, really good for families. Climb on in. Okay, seats kind of comfortable. I got room for my head. It's a little tight on the left, but not too bad. I have plenty of room for my legs. This is where I would be seated if I was driving. I'm 6'1", legs torso proportionate, plenty of room there. Down here we get vents, which is nice to see, plus 2 USB-C sockets. And of course we do have a mud mat going across the floor. Now, right over here we do have a fold-down armrest with integrated cup holders. And that's it. Up front, we have an interior that's pretty familiar if you've been in one of the modern CR-Vs. We have this honeycomb pattern that is shared with the Honda Civic. We get these little controllers here, which are kind of fun. Down below that, we get a USB-C socket that integrates with the infotainment system, and then we also get one just for charging, 12-volt, 180-watt power socket, and we also get a charging pad for wireless devices. Right here we have a nice long shift lever that has PRND, plus it has a B setting, which gives you extra recharge on pedal up. Next to that, we have a drive mode selector. Now, I expected to see a trail mode here, but we don't get that. Instead, we have sport, normal, econ, and snow. So what this has, and honestly all CR-V all-wheel drive vehicles now have, is a special traction system that kicks in at speeds below 9 miles per hour. No trail mode, which is going to be interesting. We'll see how that works when we get this on the trail a little bit later. Now, as for the rest of the interior, we have a nicely wrapped steering wheel with, steering wheel warmer down there. Infotainment is now a 9-inch screen. This is the now default size on all 2026 CR-Vs, and I think it's pretty nice. And below that, we have real knobs and buttons for the climate controls. That's right. And this is a dual zone setup, which is good to see. We also have seat warmers on these front 2 seats, which is a plus. Right, so what else? Sunroof, sunglass holder. We do have a bin down here for sodas, plus we have a little accessory bin, and then right here, a big bin that has no power in it, which is interesting. I would have thought to see power in there. Right, seats. Cradle me pretty good. I feel pretty good with this. I'm not going to move, that's for sure. They are fabric, which is an interesting choice. Most companies are now going to synthetic leathers. Not Honda, not at this price point. And I have lots of power controls here. Do note that the passenger seat does have manual controls. It's old school. Okay, well, let's take this vehicle out. We're going to drive it around a little bit, see how it feels, and then we're going to bring it back here to see how good it does in challenging conditions. So let's do it. Punch it. A lot of noise. Now I've set up my gauge cluster here to show me how power is getting distributed front to back. Right now, just light throttle, 35 miles per hour, I'm seeing a 50-50 torque split. But how does this do on a 0 to 60? Let's give it a try. So there's not a lot to do here to set up for a 0 to 60. Basically just going to switch drive mode into sport, which will give me the most aggressive throttle and power transfer. So 3, 2, 1, and launch. Power evenly front to back, all the way up, and 60 in 8.22 seconds, which is not bad. I mean, that's kind of okay. I would consider 6.5 to be fast, 9.5 to be slow. This is a little bit quick for the slow side. We're going to just keep it in sport for a little bit here. Let's do a hard right acceleration. Feel for those front wheels. Actually, that power felt, not only did it show that power was even front to back on the gauge cluster, it felt very solid. It did not feel like it was scrapping away with the front wheels trying to get grip. It was just a solid acceleration. It felt like a full-time all-wheel drive system. That's cool. Don't love that sound though. Wow, wow. Nah, don't like that. So the steering wheel here does feel really nice. It is wrapped in this leather, and it just honestly, it feels really good to the touch. And on the wheel here, we do have what appears to be paddle shifters, but they're not. They're actually brake regen adjustments. So if I toggle negative, it makes that regen much more severe. In other words, it will bring more power back into the battery, yet when I lift off the throttle, it's kind of like we have how many settings here? 1, 2, 3, 4 settings. So 4 different levels of regen. Personally, I prefer to not be that severe because you are going to recoup power doing that, but let's be realistic here. This is just a standard hybrid. Like, what are you going to get? Half mile per gallon better, maybe? I prefer to kind of just have a free roll, which is the first setting. And that just gives you basic regen. If I hit the brakes, we go to regen, we go to braking, and it feels pretty good. Actually, the brake calibration on this is excellent. It does not feel like a regen brake system. That's nice. Very smooth. Okay, so in sport mode here, I am never seeing power absolutely disappear from those back wheels. Let's get up to a freeway speed here. Let's get up to 55. And let's switch it into normal. And let's see if power cuts to those back wheels at all, according to their gauge here. I am just cruising at 55, and I'm showing power going to all 4 wheels all the time, which is what you want. That way, the moment I stab throttle, I have power. The moment I get a little slip, I have power. There's no brief pause while the system figures out if it needs to turn on those rear wheels, which is fantastic. Love it. Let's also see if Econ, does Econ disconnect the back at all? Just cruising here at 50. Nope, I'm showing even power distribution front to back the whole time. When I do go full throttle, I do get more power to the front initially, and then it shifts more power to the back as we go, but it's pretty darn close. At least that's what the gauges are telling me. And it feels like that too in the real world. Let's switch back to normal here. Now the seating position in this is pretty good. It's fairly comfortable. These are fabric seats though, and not everybody is into these fabric seats. I think they actually hold me in very nicely, but again, for the price point, I would like to have the synthetic leather. I do own several vehicles that have the synthetic leather seats on them, not Honda, but Toyota and Subaru. And I just find that they wear and they clean up very nicely. Now on the plus side, these are black, so stains are not gonna show. Now in terms of this head unit, man, it doesn't really do anything. I kind of feel like even the head unit in my Bronco Sport does more than this thing does, and yeah, that one doesn't do anything either. I do get Apple CarPlay, and the screen is pretty nice on here actually. I do like that. It's a good size, I think, overall. Although there is a bit of an escalating arms race in terms of screen sizes in compact crossovers. This one is now a 9-inch. Even the new RAV4 has like up to a 12-inch. So they can get pretty big, but I think this one is actually a really nice size for people that don't demand a lot from their infotainment. If you just kind of are, you want it as a nice camera system, you want to have, access to your mobile device, and you want to, well, basically that's it. Boom, this screen, perfect size. Now let's talk noise. I am hearing a rumble from the tires. I'm also hearing some wind noise outside. It's not the quietest of cabins, I will say that. But it seems to be about consistent with what we see on the marketplace. A lot of the vehicles in this class are not particularly quiet until you jump up to, a Mercedes or a Lexus or something like that. But this one I would say is right in there. Nobody's going to be bugged by the sounds in this car, but it's not vault quiet, that's for sure. There is one thing I will say about this vehicle on the street. It's not exciting. Like if you go into sport mode and you really jam it, it doesn't sound very good. It doesn't sound like it wants to do that. And because it doesn't want to do that, I don't want to do that with it. Also the paddle shifters, because they're really just brake control. I'm not going to obviously be slamming or adjusting those very much. Yeah, it's just kind of like, no, it's good. It's fine. It's very comfortable. If you're just kind of person who wants to get to work and back, and you want to be comfortable and you want to feel safe and you want to have all-wheel drive and you want to drive a hybrid, yeah, this is great. So let's talk about the fact that this is not just any CR-V, it's a Trailsport. And I kind of want to think that Trailsport means something, but I'm having a hard time with this CR-V. And the reason for that is because Honda, of course, came out with their Pilot Trailsport, and it was kind of a lukewarm offering. We're like, okay, you've changed the tires out, you've added some badges, but that's about it. But when they came out with the new one, the second generation Trailsport, extra ground clearance, like real underbody protection, a real trail mode, a real trail camera, I mean, you're like, oh yeah, now we're talking. And then when they came out with the Passport version of the Trailsport, it was like, boom, head exploded. This is what we wanted, with the exception of ground clearance. It needs more ground clearance. But here nor there, the fundamentals were solid. So now, here we are, 2025, with a 2026 model CR-V Trailsport. And yeah, they're doing it all over again. They just put all-terrain tires on what is essentially a normal CR-V. And not even bigger ones. They're the same size as normal CR-V tires. So I kind of feel like, Honda, are you really just phoning this in or what? I mean, even there is a competitive market for these off-road ready trims. And I'm sorry, this one is, based on features, doesn't look that impressive. So that's something to think about, and we're definitely going to learn more as we hit the off-road course to see if this is truly worthy of a Trailsport. But the fact that it doesn't have extra ground clearance or even underbody protection kind of makes me think it probably isn't. Visibility is quite excellent. Most of these vehicles are little fish bowls, and this one is no different. It's comfortable. I mean, we have the latest tech with collision mitigation, blind spot warning. We even have rear cross traffic alerts. So we have all the good stuff. And it has adaptive cruise control with lane centering. I've turned it on. I can set my target speed, and then basically we're off to the races. Now this is a hands-on system. I am demonstrating with hands-off so you can see how well it tracks down the middle of the lanes. And yeah, it's doing a decent job. I also like how it's animated up on the gauge cluster. Oh, too tight, too tight. It's telling me to put my hands back on the wheel. It didn't exactly keep to that curve. Some systems will. The Toyota will keep on this specific curve. The Honda will not. So not quite as good as the Toyota system in that regard. Actually, Subaru will also lane trace that corner specifically quite well. Oh well. But it has all of the essentials that you need. Now, this is a funny hybrid system. Whereas most vehicles have a transmission, this one technically doesn't. So no eCVT, no CVT, no 8-speed, no dual clutch, no nothing. It just doesn't. The way this is designed is that the electric motor drives the all-wheel drive system, and then there's also a motor generator that helps power the system, and that also puts all of the juice into the batteries. And then we also have a gas engine that can clutch and declutch off of this system. On the road, Very comfortable to drive, not very exciting, but it does the job and it gets good MPGs. And actually this all-wheel drive system seems to be pretty solid, at least on the street. But how does it fare when things get challenging? Well, now it's time to take it to our Peninsula Proving Grounds, where we're going to put the all-wheel drive system to the test. So let's see how much fun we can have with this. I'm going to stop completely. I'm going to put it in drive. Is there any place I can actually turn off traction control? Oh, there we go. Vehicle stability mode, reduce traction control. Okay, let's do this. I'm in drive. That's basically, oh, let's put it in sport. 3, 2, 1, punch it. Ooh. Actually, that's not bad. There's a fair amount of body roll, though. I mean, yeah, you can have a little fun with it. Right, well, that was okay. But let's see how well this deals with tough traction situations. And we're going to start with the easy course. We're going to go to our fun forest, see how it does, and escalate from there. I have to admit, I am pretty excited to try this low-speed traction system. First, I'm going to turn traction control back on because the way a traction system works is it needs traction control. That's a fundamental part of traction system. So I'm going to put it in drive. I'm just going to keep my drive mode in normal. And this is actually one thing that I'm kind of a little confused by. Why didn't they give us a trail mode? Why is it just baked into normal? Maybe they figured people wouldn't actually use it if it was a push button. I mean, that's possible. Let's go ahead and switch to the all-wheel drive settings so I can call out what the all-wheel drive system is doing as we go through this. And let's just crawl through. Now, you're probably hearing this is electric only. It does switch between electric only and then kicking on that gas engine as necessary. But it's kind of cool how slow it goes when it's all electric and how quiet it is. That's actually a really good throttle control here too. Oh, I showed a lot of power going to the back there. Actually more power going to the back than to the front right here as it tries to push us over. Now, I'm not using momentum because that just demonstrates the ability for mass to keep moving. What we're trying to do here is stress the all-wheel drive system so that it can prove itself and show us what it's capable of. Okay, now we have no front camera here, which I kind of would like, but you know, it is what it is. So I'm just going to have to use sight lines instead. So ground clearance on this is, of course, just a little bit over 8 inches, which should be good enough to get us through most of our courses today. It's so quiet. So we're just kind of rolling there. Now we're going to apply a little throttle. This is where our first wheel has been lifted. And I'm just keeping throttle in. I'm trying to keep my speed under 9, which hasn't been too difficult here because we're just crawling. Just throttle in, rotate over. Now we're going to see how well we can do this here. How well can we climb out at super slow speed? Gas engine has cut off and we're all electric again. So it does take a moment. More power to the back than the front. We're about 50% to the front and about 100% to the back. I mean, of available torque. Up we go. Good. Does a decent job. It does have to fuss a little bit, but it does figure it out. See if it can deadlift up all by itself with no assist. I'm just keeping the wheels kind of straight. I'm just increasing throttle. Wheel spin is well controlled. Come on. It's applying brakes to the spinning wheel, which then shifts power to the opposite axle. And boom, up we go. It works. Tore up the trail. Of course, tore it up. The downside of these type of systems, they spin a wheel and they just shred things. That worked pretty good, but this also is equipped with a hill descent control system, so let's give that a try. And then we'll move on over to our mogul course. Okay, we have a steep drop here. So the 8.2 inches of ground clearance we have on this thing should be fine. Also, it has a 106-inch wheelbase, so our breakover should be okay on this. The approach angle is just a little bit better than 16 degrees, however, so hopefully we don't grind at the end here. Yeah. So at this point, I'm going to hit the little button down here, and that says hill descent control on. I can then, once hill descent control is on, it's going to set the speed at my approach speed. But the nice thing is that this one will actually tell me what that speed is. I don't have to guess. We have a range between 2 and 12 miles per hour according to the gauge here. So I'm going to approach. It illuminates as green. It shows I'm at 2 miles per hour. Now I'm just going to lift my foot off the throttle or brake. And there we go. Any grinding in the front? Ooh, it actually grabbed us really nicely there near the end. That's actually a really good hill descent control system. Love it. Good job. Okay, well now let's see how this deals with the moguls. At this point, I can turn off the hill descent control. I'm still in drive, I'm still in normal. Let's just proceed. So at this point, I'm really going to be lifting traction on opposing angles, which really stresses the system as we go through this. Hopefully, we don't break any body parts, because yeah, it's quite possible to rub here. Let me get my all-wheel drive system back up there. I'm just really impressed with this system, how it's constantly pushing power to both the front and the back. The power distribution, it does a pretty good job, but it does, like so many of these systems that rely on brake vectoring, they just spin the tires so much that it does cause a lot of trail damage. It's just an issue. But as long as we can get through things, I think, you know, that's a win for the class. Okay, now should get the big dip here. Gonna go straight, wheels are straight. Keep a little throttle in, try to keep our speeds down so that traction system keeps on. Okay, there we are. That's a big lift. No articulation on this thing, but that again is pretty normal for the class. Okay, got through it. I mean, it fussed a little bit, but it put the power down when it needed to, eventually. Nice. Weather is changing. Okay, let's clean up after this thing again. Man, these brake vectoring systems. Okay, continuing on, let's see what kind of grip we get with these tires. Now, they're Continental, they're basically trail tires. They don't have a ton of grip. See, this is the biggest tilt that we have on this particular section of the course. I'm just adding throttle. Can it lift us up? Ooh, it's trying. I'm hearing it. It's working. Good job. You working? I'm just adding a little throttle. Wow, that's actually electric climbing right there. Then we tilt again. And no rubbing. I'm actually really impressed. The clearances have actually worked out really well for this vehicle. Okay, let's talk about this vehicle. I think overall, it actually is pretty good. It's not very exciting, but it delivers in all the places that I think a lot of people want. It's comfortable and quiet to drive on the road. The MPGs are actually quite good. It's a nice size, it's a nice shape, and I think overall people who buy or lease this are going to be pretty happy with it. Now, in terms of off-road trail capability, yes, it's true that they didn't really take it that far. They did give it some mild all-terrain tires and some looks, but other than that, not a lot. But the thing that I like is the fact that they not only gave this a new below 9 mile per hour traction system, they just gave it to all the CR-Vs. Now, it does take away a little bit of what makes the Trailsport special. Honestly, I really want to see a little skid plate under the front. I want to see a trail camera system. We don't have those here, and I think that to keep the Trailsport brand relevant, they need to deliver more than just a wheel, tire, sticker package. But I am still pretty happy with this vehicle. I think it did great today on what are easy trails, essentially. It got through with no problems, no overheating, no complaining, and we didn't even rub, which is kind of nice. Now, you probably want to see us take this on even more challenging trails. Well, we have that coming up because we're going to put this versus the Subaru hybrid system to see which is best. That video will be out in the next couple weeks, so be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you again right here on the next video.